everyone. Welcome to the T-shirt transfer paper power half hour. I am your host, Doug DeWitt. Welcome to episode 10, our review of Neenah Inkjet transfer paper, also known as Inky-Do-It, also known as the waterboarding show. So if you hear a drip during the presentation, it's just water pouring in from the roof because it's been raining in beautiful Mobile, Alabama for 3 solid days. But anyway, welcome to the show. What we're going to cover today is the various types of Neenah Coldenhove inkjet transfer paper that we stock here at Condé Systems. I'm going to tell you the differences between the Jet Pro Soft Stretch and the ActiveWear, between the JET-OPAQUE II and the 3G JET-OPAQUE. I'm going to show you some examples that I've already done. We're going to do a couple of demos. Hopefully it'll be a great show for you guys. Hope to keep you informed. Now, speaking of keeping you informed, let's go ahead and pay the power bill. Have to tell you about our March promotion, Hopping into Success. Make sure that you click on the web banner on our website, conde.com or dytrans.com. It'll give you all the information on the specials that we're running, and we also have got discounted shipping rates this month, so you want to take advantage. Speaking of taking advantage, also check our website and make sure you sign up for the Sublimation Summit, the virtual Sublimation Summit 2021 edition, hosted by Cheryl Kuchik. That summit is March 10th, 11th, and 12th. There is sign up available on our website, and if you register through Condé, you might get a little bit of a discount on the registration fee. Make sure that you check it out. And of course, can't pay the power bill without mentioning The Road to Sublimation Success, co-authored by our own David Gross here at Condé Systems. This book will save your life, figuratively and financially. Make sure you check out all the tips and tricks in this thing. It's available on Amazon. You can download it through Kindle, and you can buy it at Condé. All right, power bill's been paid. Let's talk about inkjet transfer papers for a moment. Now, before I get into the presentation, I just kind of want to go over some of the selling points that I think in regards to inkjet transfer papers, why I think they're a good idea. Well, first off is that inkjet transfer paper, specifically the Neenah brand, can be used by just about any inkjet transfer paper on the market. So it doesn't matter if you have a $20,000 Hoss that's 64 inches wide. It doesn't matter if you have a little $100 inkjet that you bought from your local office supply store. Great thing about that is if you have an inkjet printer, if you have a handheld iron or an inexpensive heat press, you can start creating digitally decorated garments using inkjet transfer paper. And the other cool thing about it is it's extremely easy to use. Now, we've been doing shows here where we've been demonstrating the Oki white toner systems, which usually involve multiple presses and multiple sheets and all these different kind of applications. But when it comes to the world of inkjet transfers, they're relatively simple. You basically print, you press, you peel. Done. So, like I said, just about anybody can get into it. And when we're talking about inkjet printers, especially my weapon of choice today, which is the Epson SureColor P600, this is running 9 different colors. Okay, so when it comes to photographic output especially, you can get some really vibrant colors out of an inkjet system these days. I like this one because of the color combinations, the expanded gamut, also the fact that it uses individual cartridges. You know, I tend to stay away from units that use multiple colors in a single cartridge. You want to get one that's individual cartridges, and you can use the standard OEM inks. I like Epson because Epson makes a quality ink when it comes to using inkjet transfers. Now, there are less expensive printers that use less expensive inks. So before you get started, you probably want to do your own wash test, so to speak, to make sure you got the process down and to make sure that your ink is going to hold. Because if there is some detractors to using inkjet transfer paper, one thing that people always question is the durability of the transfers, especially compared to more established production methods like using color laser printers that use a dry toner or using direct-to-garment systems where the ink is specially formulated for the cotton. All I can say there is the durability has usually less to do with the transfer paper itself and more to do with the quality of ink that you use. So like I said, you get a good quality inkjet printer. You don't have to spend a lot, but one that uses a good ink, you're going to be up and running. Now, some of the other detractors, and we'll kind of show you how they work here, is that at the moment, unlike color lasers, there really isn't what we would call a self-weeding product for inkjet transfers. Now, Forever Paper makes a sublimation to cotton product that self-weeds, but you have to get a sublimation printer in order to do it. When it comes to standard inkjet transfers that anybody can use, the issue there is there really isn't a self-weeding paper. So what you're going to see with the papers for the light colors, we're going to deposit a solid film. With the papers for the dark garments, we're basically printing on a white polyester-based film that we call an opaque material. So in other words, if we want to trim the design, we have to physically trim the paper, either with scissors or with a professional vinyl cutter. Okay, so that being said, let's talk about some of the inkjet products that are offered by Neenah Coldenhove paper, which is kind of the flagship paper that we offer here at Condé Systems. Now, why do we go with Neenah Coldenhove? Well, one is they're a recognized brand name. They are a world market leader. Neenah products, especially the Neenah Jet Pro Soft Stretch and the 3G JET-OPAQUE, are some of the best-selling inkjet papers in the world, okay? Now, some other cool things about Neenah product is their amazing consistency when it comes to production run to production run. And that's because they handle everything themselves there at the mill. They cultivate their own forest. They handle their own pulp, they process it, they do all the coating themselves. Everything is controlled in-house. What the people at Neenah would tell you, from tree to tea, they handle the entire process. Also, another cool thing is the paper's manufactured right here in the good old US of A. If you've heard of Neenah, Wisconsin, well, that's because of the mill, but they also have production in Michigan as well. So a consistent American-made product, great quality. That's why we continue to push the Neenah Coldenhove brand. So let's get into the few papers that are available. Give me just a second. Beverage break. All right. First paper we're going to talk about today is the world famous Neenah Jet Pro Soft Stretch, or Jet Pro SS paper. As far as this paper is concerned, it is designed for imaging white or light colored cotton or cotton poly blends up to about a 50% blend. So basically, when you're decorating fabrics, you want it to be a white or a light color, and you want the cotton content to be at least 50%. If that's what you're going for, then the Neenah Jet Pro Soft Stretch is your paper. You'll recognize the paper because it has this blue grid backing in the words Jet Pro SS written across it. Now, as far as the paper sizes are concerned, we have them available in 8.5 by 11, 11 by 17, 13 by 19 cut sheet. We also have roll sizes available from 13-inch up to 24-inch for the wide format printers out there. So what I'm going to do here is show you some examples of some shirts I did earlier with the Jet Pro Soft Stretch, and then we're going to throw a sheet into the Epson printer and we're going to run through the steps on how to do it. So Sprite, if you could please give me the overhead view. Thank you. So here we have an image done with the Neenah Jet Pro SS or Soft Stretch transfer paper. Now, of course, coming off my Epson printer with the 9-color process, you'll see that it produces some absolutely beautiful photographic reproductions here. And we are going to attempt to replicate this particular shirt. Now, you'll notice here against a white background, if I feel along the edge here, I could feel that residual emulsion layer. But on a white garment, you can't see it. So if you're using this product to decorate white t-shirts, it is real easy peasy. But one thing I wanted to show here is I put the transfer on some different color garments. Now, the camera may not be able to pick out the emulsion residue like I'm seeing here. But the point of emphasis that I want to make is that the more color that is in your garment, the more this excess emulsion residue is going to show through unless you trim your design before you apply it to the garment. Now, the other thing I wanted to show here by this example done in the yellow is that the emulsion film being applied by Jet Pro Soft Stretch is a clear or translucent film. So in other words, the background color of the garment will start to show through. Seeing how we don't have white as a process color with an inkjet printer, you could see here the areas that should be white are now turning a shade of yellow. But beyond that, it's still a great looking graphic. So like I said, that's Neenah Jet Pro soft stretch paper. And what we're going to do right now is we're going to run through the steps of decorating a cotton t-shirt using Neenah Jet Pro soft stretch. So let's grab what we need. Going to need a white t-shirt. I'm going to need my Jet Pro soft stretch paper. I am using the 11-inch by 17-inch cut sheet, what we also call tabloid or B size. And I'm just going to go ahead and drop that into my Epson printer. We're going to need our scissors because, like I said, we want to cut away the excess paper that we don't print. We might need the heat gloves. You know, I'm feeling a little dangerous today. We'll kind of see how it goes. So first off, I'm going to jump on my computer here. I won't show you the settings, so to speak. I'll just kind of walk you through them. To set up my Epson driver for printing Jet Pro soft stretch, all I'm telling the driver is that I'm printing onto a plain paper, that I want 720 by 720 dpi image quality, and that I'm basically feeding a B size or 11 by 17 cut sheet. Now, some drivers may have the ability to mirror or reverse the graphic, and when we're printing the Jet Pro soft stretch, we do want to mirror or reverse because when we lay the graphic down, it will be right reading. Now, like I said, some drivers allow you to do it, but I went ahead and did it in my graphic software. So I'm going to go ahead and send the print over. And in the meantime, let's go ahead and prep our trusty DK20S heat press from Geo-Night Company for applying Jet Pro soft stretch inkjet paper. Okay, when it comes to the press, I have the press set at 375 degrees Fahrenheit. I've got my timer set at 30 seconds. And when it comes to Jet Pro soft stretch, you want to use a medium pressure, somewhere between 4 to 6 bar. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and take my Hanes Beefy Tee 100% cotton t-shirt, and I'm going to lay it on the heat press. Try to square it up as best I can. Lay it out so that the shirt gets as flat as we can. Try not to put any more creases that's in there. If there are any contaminants on the shirt, make sure you have your sticky lint roller. I don't know what they call these things in Michigan, but down here in Alabama, it's a sticky lint roller. So yeah, let's go ahead and lint roll the area that's going to be under the press. And I am just going to use the weight of the platen and pre-press the shirt for about 5 to 10 seconds, just to drive out any moisture that might be in the garment, any moisture that might have dripped on the garment from the roof. Let's go ahead and grab our sheet. You see I've got it in mirror or reverse here. Now, here's a Doug DeWitt pro tip. Because the backing sheet has a grid to it, it makes it easy to trim away the excess material and get a clean cut. So I'm just going to trim away a little bit of the excess here, but I do want to leave some to see if it is noticeable when we pull the Jet Pro soft stretch sheet off the t-shirt. Okay, so 4 cuts, I've got my design. Another thing that I want to check is make sure that the ink has absorbed into the emulsion layer. If your transfer comes out and you see any ink puddling on the surface or it takes a while to dry, you're using too much ink. Back off on your ink settings in your driver. Excess ink, when you wash it, may look like the shirt is bleeding. Everything is okay, you're just using too much ink in the process. Remember, a little ink goes a long way. So let's take our design, let's square it up. Now notice here, I don't have any Teflon on the bottom or don't have any Teflon on the top. I really don't even need a cover sheet for this. I can just bring the press straight over, pressing at 375 degrees Fahrenheit, 30 seconds. Now, once the timer goes off, we can wait up to a minute to peel away the backing sheet of Jet Pro SS. Now, if we do that, what we're going to have is a design that looks very shiny and glossy. If we peel it after a few seconds, which we can, we'll have more of a flat matte finish as opposed to a gloss finish. But unlike other transfers, we really don't need to do a finishing press. I'm going to give that heat a second or two to dissipate. Wave it away like it's magic or something. And then peel away the backing. Boom, just like that, finished t-shirt. Now, before I wear this shirt or before I wash this shirt, I want to let it sit for about 24 hours so to give the ink time to cure within the emulsion and the emulsion time to settle in the garment. Now, when you're washing this the first time, secret is that you want to move it from the washer to the dryer immediately. You don't want to let it sit in the tub wet for a few hours. You also don't want to use any liquid fabric softener. If by chance you wash the first time and it looks like the design is cracking or flaking off, well, that's a chemical reaction going on. Some t-shirts use a chemical sizing agent. You might want to use a different shirt, or you might want to check what you're using as far as a detergent or a bleach, or if there's any treatment going on to your water supply. But basically, that's Jet Pro Soft Stretch in a nutshell. Like I said, what I love about it, real simple, real easy to use. Now, Sprite, if you can get back to my overhead, I want to show a couple of more examples here. This is another product made by Neenah Coldenhove. That's called Jet Pro ActiveWear. Basically, it's like Jet Pro Soft Stretch in the sense that it's a very soft, very breathable emulsion layer. The only difference is that this is designed to work with polyester materials as opposed to cotton materials. You could use this on 100% poly or cotton poly blends where polyester is the predominant blend or predominant material in the blend. So like I said, you have one product that's basically designed for cottons and blends. You have the other product that's designed for polyesters. Now, I also put the same design on this steel gray here. Again, like the Jet Pro Soft Stretch, you might see the emulsion residue as you start to get more color within the design. But when it comes to this particular paper, if you're using a microfiber polyester, it's basically designed to keep those wicking properties. So while there might be a slight feel to this garment because we used an emulsion-based transfer paper, it's still going to wick moisture through the design, evaporate it out through the shirt while the shirt stays dry. It doesn't hurt any of the necessary properties of microfiber polyester. So basically, if you want to decorate a white or light cotton shirt, you go with Jet Pro Soft Stretch or Jet Pro SS. If you want to decorate a white or light polyester shirt, then you can use the Jet Pro ActiveWear if you don't have a sublimation system. Come on. All right, so that's Neenah's lineup of white and light color inkjet transfer papers. Now let's talk about the dark papers. And Sprite, if you could get back to the table for me, I got some cool designs that I think you'll dig. I hope everyone else digs them too. This product right here is JET-OPAQUE II, offered by Neenah Coldenhove. This is their standard tried and true material. As far as the material is concerned, it will work with pigment-based inks, dye-based inks, solvent inks, eco-solvent inks, comes in cut sheets, comes in rolls. It is probably a little thicker than most of the materials that you encounter on the market, but that thicker film, you know, which is basically a white dyed polyester film, The thicker film works great on thicker fabric materials. So if you're doing things like hoodies or sweatshirts, if you need to decorate something like fleece or canvas, this is definitely the go-to paper. Another thing that's great about this paper with the thickness involved is that when it comes to a professional cutter, it makes it very easy to cut. If you're looking to cut JET-OPAQUE II and you have an optical cutter, basically what you want to do is use a standard 45-degree blade. You want to set your cutting speed somewhere between 20 to 30 centimeters a second, and you want to set your gram force somewhere between 90 and 120. Same graphic done on a bright color shirt. Now, anybody who has ever worked with opaque material before, sometimes they may complain that the white might shift to a certain color whenever they're pressing their opaque material to the garment. That is a symptom that we call dye migration, and that means you have polyester content in that material. If you put like materials like a light polyester and a dark polyester together and you heat them, the dyes from the dark are going to move into the white, which is why you're getting that underbase. But the cool part about this product is you could drop the temperature down to 300 degrees if necessary, so that you could decorate dark cotton poly blends without the dye migration appearing. And of course, here we have the graphic here against a black garment. I left a little bit of the white edging so that you could see that it needs to be trimmed away if you wanted just the painting rendition on the garment. But as you can see, the colors absolutely pop with this product. Now, Neenah has made some updates to this product. There are some more coming down the pipeline, but as far as the JET-OPAQUE II is concerned, it's a consistent product. It works great. So remember, if you need to decorate dark garments, but you need a thicker material because you need a thicker opaque layer because your material is thicker, then go with the JET-OPAQUE II. Now, the samples I'm going to lay down here. This is Neenah's current flagship product that they call 3G JET-OPAQUE. Now, 3G JET-OPAQUE, the difference between this and 2 is the emulsion film, the opaque emulsion film for 3G JET-OPAQUE. It's going to be thinner and it's going to be more flexible than JET-OPAQUE II. So when you're talking about t-shirt materials or lighter materials, it's definitely the one that you want to consider. Now, as far as the color rendition is concerned, again, you get eye-popping color with this because we're basically printing onto a dyed white polyester film. And like the other JET-OPAQUE II product, if you have polyester content in your material, you can drop the temperature range that you use to apply it to prevent the dye migration. Now, being a thinner, more flexible film, the current version, it is going to be a little tougher to cut with an optical or vinyl cutter. Now, I'm not saying that it can't be accomplished, but what you generally have to do is you might have to increase your gram force a little bit more than what you would for JET-OPAQUE II. There, you might run the risk of not only cutting through the material, but cutting through your backing sheet, which you don't want to do. The other thing you have to do is you have to slow down the cutting speed. Because if you try to cut this material too fast, it's almost like the blade has a tendency to skip along the surface because the surface is so flexible and elastic, and it doesn't really have the tension to give you a clean cut. So remember, if you're going to try to cut with 3G JET-OPAQUE material, what you definitely want to do is you want to slow down that cutting speed. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to do an example of 3G JET-OPAQUE to show you the process. Now, let me grab some of the tools I'm going to need. I'm going to need my 3G JET-OPAQUE film. And again, I'm going to use the 11 by 17. Go ahead and drop that into my Epson printer. And let me go ahead and get this print started. I want to check my preferences to make sure I am still set up for printing to a plain paper, printing at 720 by 720 dpi, and that I'm printing to an 11 by 17 sheet. Now, Unlike the Jet Pro Soft Stretch and the Jet Pro ActiveWear, where we're dealing with a clear film, we have to mirror or reverse the print. When it comes to printing to an opaque material, you always want to print that right reading. So while that print's going on, let's grab some of the other tools we might need. I might need this paper cutter to cut a straight line. Now, like I said, we could use the grid marks on the back of the Jet Pro ActiveWear, the Jet Pro Soft Stretch, the JET-OPAQUE II, or the 3G JET-OPAQUE to help us with our cutting. We're going to use an X-Acto cutter. We could also use a pair of scissors. Like I said, if we had an intricate design, we could use an optical cutter. Got my pair of scissors just in case. Make sure I've got my sticky lint roller and heat glove in case I burn myself, but you know, I've gone 60 days without burning myself. I think I'm rocking it. I'm just going to push the envelope for you, ladies and gentlemen, living dangerously. Oh, let's not forget our sample shirt. Again, I'm going to use a Hanes Beefy Tee, 100% cotton, except this time in black. Let's run through the procedure. Now, the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to reset my press. Like I said, we have a little lower application temperature when it comes to using the opaque materials as opposed to using the papers for the white and light colors with the clear film. So I'm going to go ahead and reset for 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Let me go ahead and take my sticky lint roller because I have things on this shirt that need to be sticky lint rolled. All right, so let's square up our shirt. Let's try to keep it as flat as possible. And let's go ahead and give it a 5 to 10 second pre-press just to make sure there is no moisture within our shirt. Why do we do that? Because once we hit this transfer with a hot heat press, that moisture might turn to steam. And if it steams up on us, well then we might have a difficult time getting the emulsion to lay down properly where there's a steam pocket, so to speak, rising up. So let me go ahead and get my cutter here. And I'm going to try to cut this into as straight of line as I can. Of course, the cutter doesn't get all the way, so use scissors for the last part of it. There we go. Yeah, you notice I don't talk much when I'm doing this because apparently this requires my complete concentration, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. All right, let's clean up after ourselves. I guess we don't need our cutter anymore. That sound means our press is at temperature, so, you know, like a good cook, timing is everything. Now, here is the secret. Separating the polymer film, opaque film, from the backing sheet. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start at one corner. And I am going to twist one corner back and forth to get a slight tear going into the backing sheet. Takes a little patience, but keep at it. Also takes some longer fingernails. But once you're able to essentially separate a corner, then at that point, it should just peel away. Okay. Now, once you get the peel going, it should literally peel that smooth. Okay? If your opaque film does not separate from your B sheet that smoothly, you might have what we call overspray on the adhesive holding the film to the B sheet, and you might want to contact tech support to remedy that. But what you can see here is we've got the film printed, right reading, so essentially we just lay it on the garment where we want it to appear. Now, some other things that I'm going to need to accomplish this job. I'm going to need one of our matte silicone sheets, okay? And I'm using this matte silicone sheet because I just simply don't want the opaque material to stick to the top platen of my press. Now, as far as a pro tip is concerned, and let me find it here, I have what I call my paper stack, okay? All this is about 5 or 6 copy sheets of 11-inch by 17-inch plain paper that I taped at the corners with some heat-resistant tape. Now, what I'm doing is 5 or 6 sheets is so that when I bring down paper is help pull down the edge. This, what might tend to happen is the edges might have a tendency to pucker up into separate from the fabric where a cotton blend. I would reduce them to 300 degrees Fahrenheit, but I would expect to maintain a pure polyester material. Check out our video on Condé TV on our 5 remove, and as you can see, got a beautiful design done. So I hope that I can do and encourage you to just a little tip from my contacts at Neenah are working on a live here on Condé TV. Now, if you want to order these Condehove Inkjet products, contact here. We sell by the pack, but on Amazon. So if you go to our Amazon, you will find Neenah paper sheet quantities, even into your fresh, and your great results with these products. About the information that I covered in the video, the printer or the press, if you have a suggestion, TTPPHH.com. Do check really. Also, if you want to know about the T-shirt Power Show, other programs that we already, make sure to hit the subscribe button on our channel or like us on Facebook. Where we'll do surface papers. I might even have a special guest on that show who, by the way, happens to be her birthday. So happy birthday, Space Monkey Sprite, way up there in Mission Control, wherever you may be. Hope you're partying down. And remember to tune in to the next T-shirt Transfer Paper Power Half Hour right here in beautiful, rainy, dripping in our studio, Mobile, Alabama. Until that time, I'm Doug DeWitt, Transfer Paper Product Manager here at Condé. My time is up, and I thank you for